natin dito, yung mga bata. And some of them really Chinese-Filipino group na ngayon ay mga college students na sa MIT na nakausap ko, nag-attend ng paaralan sa konsulado years ago. They are so appreciative of their Filipino heritage. And they are so proud. So I attended an event in Pittsburgh. Ang nag-play isang rondalya na puro kabataan. Ang may edad lang ng konti yung nagturo. And you can see how proud they are performing the Philippine airs on their rondalya. Saludo po ako sa mga kabataan natin dito. And the desire for them to know more about this heritage is just tremendous and so inspiring, really. Well, thank you so much, Mars. Maraming salamat.
Welcome, Mr. Inot. Maybe one of these days, manonood ako ng inyong mga webinars. I used to teach in the law school po. So it's still a continuing challenge, I think, no? Kahit na mga adults na yon, kung paano talaga ngayon you will educate online, because ano talaga as you get older, minsan your attention span rin talaga umiigso. So it's always a challenge to be that interesting. But thank you very much, Mr. Inyo. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome, Joseph.
Stay safe po at salamat sa inyong sharing, pagbabahagi po na inyong sarili. It's very inspiring, and God bless you po, and to your family, stay safe po palagi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Conjen, yung ating susunod po na guest.
Ang kasunod po nating mapapakinggan isa sa mga pinagmamalaki natin dito sa New York. Siya po ay nagkatatayo lamang ng kanyang restaurant sa downtown New York na pinupuntahan na ng ating mga kababayan at lalong higit ng mga Amerikano mismo na sikat na ang Philippine cuisine dito sa New York. Makakausap natin ngayon si Chef Jappy Afzilios. So, Jappy.
Hi, Conjen. Good evening to everyone here in New York. Conjen, thank you very much for inviting me. Magandang umaga sa lahat ng kababayan natin sa Pinas. Kamusta na? Yusek Ernie, thank you for having me. Yusek Sarah, thank you. It's an honor to be here. And maayong buntag sa inyong tanan.
Saya, bodega.
Bisaya, taga Dumaguete man ko.
Claro. Inasal
na to, parehara yapon. So first of all, I want to say it's an honor to be here, to be able to showcase and talk about Philippine cuisine from our perspective here in New York City. You know, first I want to start by, in the past 5-6 years that I've been here in New York, I was coming from France, from Italy, California, and Japan also for a long time. I first want to say that Philippine cuisine has definitely made huge strides going forward. We have to thank all the efforts of the consulate here, Conjen Claro, Consul Talbo, in leading the Philippine Restaurant Week, which we all actively participate in. We've been getting huge support from our fellow kababayans here, and the main thing that has happened here in Philippine cuisine, which is the most exciting, I have to say, over the past 2 years, is that people are now curious. Like Conjen said, a lot of Americans come here. I make it a point to try to greet every guest that comes in. Most of them, probably 80%, has never tried Philippine cuisine before, never been to the Philippines, has no idea about our food. So a word like adobo or kare-kare or bagoong are, you know, something new to them that they never heard before. When they try it, their reaction is completely different. They're like, wow, this is so good. said, I didn't know Philippines was in Southeast Asia because the flavors are similar to like Thailand. There's strong similarities, Vietnam, and so on and so forth with the other Southeast Asian countries, but most of them had no idea even where we were located. So it's a good stepping stone, and moving forward, it's now an exciting time because everyone is kind of eager. But obviously, the sad scenario here is, if we roll back time to about 3 months ago, I remember the pandemic was starting to hit quite bad here in New York around the week of March 15, and we had to close down on the 17th, and we were closed for about 11 weeks. So the first few weeks, I mean, not only us restaurants, but everyone. I was still always in contact with Consul Talbo, and everyone had no idea what to do. I've had people calling me, Chef, what are we gonna do? Paano to? Anong plano natin? I always said, na, first of all, let's be safe. Let's wait for the doctors and the medical field to give us proper instructions before we proceed with anything. But obviously it took time because it attacked us by storm, and everyone was unprepared. So the whole economy in the world just took a standstill, and as we had to close down, and everyone was already in panic mode. Are we ever going to reopen? What's going to happen? What is the new normal? I've had fellow chef friends from all over the Philippines, Manila, Siargao, Cebu, calling me like, Jap, what's going on? What's happening? Like, how are things there? So we were always in constant communication, and everyone was going through the same thing. Everyone was a little bit concerned, but I always told everyone that let's not panic. The number one important thing is that we're healthy. And then after that, let's think about the business. So when things started to get clear, testings came out, professionals started giving advice. So the social distancing, the wearing of masks, lockdown was in place. This for the first 2 weeks of the lockdown, it was really a bit of like soul searching from a chef's perspective, because I've been doing this for the past 15 years since I left Manila in 2006. It's been a while. I didn't know what to do. So like all the traveling, all the learning, I was like, whoa, I can't apply this. And all of a sudden I was idle. And so for the first 2 weeks, we were studying a lot. We were attending a lot of webinars within the industry base, and I was communicating with a lot of my classmates from the past, talking, speaking what their strategies are back in Manila as well. So obviously, as from a business standpoint, we had to pivot to an online and outdoor marketing, because indoor is not allowed. And my restaurant here. Briefly talk about it. We're called Chismis. So we are at Orchard Street here in the Lower East Side in New York City. Conjen was just here a few weeks back. We had a merienda sa calle, and then actually this evening we had a Kamayan party for about 21, which Consul Talbo also attended earlier. It's So the business model from a restaurant's perspective, where we were doing not exactly fine dining, but we were doing like upgraded smart casual style of cuisine. So the feel here is like we're doing a French style, Mediterranean influence plating, but Philippine dishes. Kare kare, we have all the traditionals: kare kare, adobo, our aligepas, our kailaing is Conjen's favorite. Um, so we had to completely pivot and restructure this. So I took this as a time to like learn the website coding, restructure the program to do outdoor and delivery. So when we eventually had the opportunity to reopen again in May 20, oh man, it was a slow start. We were slowly pacing ourselves. We started with like 3 days, pushed back to 4 days, and then after a few weeks, outdoor dining. I was allowed by the governor, Como, here in New York. So up to now, we're currently on phase 3. No indoor dining allowed yet. Business has suffered a lot Yes. But in the end, number one, we have to be thankful that we're healthy, we're alive, and we're still able to continue to do some business. So for me, I took this as an opportunity to stand still, think, reflect, and think about what's happened in the past 15 years in my career and what I've been doing. And we've set a mission to promote Philippine cuisine. So instead of like folding and giving up, we just have to try harder and reinventing ourselves. So I took this as an opportunity to when we switched to delivery, like we featured our silogs. So now everyone's like ordering bang silog here. It's like the number one dish now, which it's funny because 98% of the customers doesn't even know what bangus is, and they're ordering it because they saw it on Instagram, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's when they ask like, I've never seen this fish before. Like, oh, it's indigenous to our waters, comes from the Philippines, and I just realized that I was telling my friends that it's an opportunity to promote other things that we didn't really have much of a chance before. So now, like my regular customers, they eat tapsilog every day, tosilog. It's been quite an experience. Definitely up and down, but in the end, um, we're still proudly raising the flag and trying our best to promote Philippine food and culture. And we just have to continue. We're gonna struggle, but I mean, in the end, we're Pinoys. We know how to struggle, and we're resilient people. So we just have to toughen it up and continue to just exert effort and try our best. Thank you.
Yusek Ernie?
Para akong nagutom dun, Jappy. Grabe ka.
Tapsilog, ano ba?
Paborito na ni Conjan yan.
Uh, no, especially the USEC, there was a time kasi we were in New York often when we were still negotiating for the Global Compact for Migration. Nakakarating talaga ako kung saan parte ng New York just to look for a Filipino restaurant. Kasi wala
Wala
pa
pa
yata
yata.
nun yung chismis. I'm not sure. It was in 2018. Wala pa nun. So parang as in, I have to travel like an hour to get to a Filipino restaurant kasi iba talaga yung, I think if you live long enough here in the Philippines, iba talaga yung
Yes.
panglasang Pinoy. Ano talaga na flavors. And but saka it's amazing, Filipino restaurants there, yung clientele nila hindi lang Pinoy. Marami din talagang Americans and other races. So parang parang feeling ko okay to. But of course we are very inspired by your story.
Thank you.
And for people also who are in the Philippines, akala yata na minsan ng iba sila lang or tayo lang yung nahihirapan. I'd like to always think, look around you, parang look at the whole world, and it's a global pandemic. It's a pandemic kaya buong mundo, but at the same time, but everyone is really on the same boat, and people are really fighting, and kailangan talaga lalaban ka sa ganitong klaseng pandemya, and the spirit has to be very strong. Kasi and of course the resilience, no? Pero siguro, Mr. Kearney, do you have any more questions?
I have just two or three short ones. One, how does French technique feature in your cuisine? And how does it apply to Filipino food? French technique and stuff like that.
So number one, the main idea in plating the dishes is let's say you go to your corner French restaurant, French cafe, bistro, whichever you frequent, and then let's say you have your glass of wine, you have your pate and charcuterie to start with, and then when you have your entree, for example, you're having duck confit maybe. And when because I was based in France for a while, well, every time I looked at the duck confit when it's served to me, it's delicious. By the way, it's one of my favorite ever French dishes. I would always think, why doesn't the adobo look like this? Or even why can it not look like this? So when I eventually graduated from the French, the Italian, the Japanese kitchens, I made it my mission to do my part in promoting Philippine food and culture. It's just a matter of representing the dishes. Number one, our dishes are very good. Our dishes are very flavorful. and our dishes are very bright and pretty. But the problem is, in the Philippines, we've forgotten to we love the food, it tastes good, but we've forgotten to exert a little bit of extra effort in doing presentation. We're just like, okay, there's four of you. Here's like a mountain of rice, and then here's like a tub of adobo, and then some gulay, and then okay, go enjoy your meal. And then we look at it like, oh, okay lang to because pagkain natin to, lutong bahay to. Pero pagkakain tayo sa mamahaling restaurant na Frances or Spanyol or Italiano, we expect everything to be plated. The pasta has to look super nice. And I'm like, why doesn't the sinigang look nice? It can look nice. We just have to take the time to present it in that fashion. But mind you, in the beginning, also a lot of people complain like, oh, chef, ano naman to, parang social naman nito masyado, mahal ba to? Well, that's also like the beginning mentality. Like, no, hindi to mahal. Parehas lang yung presyo nito. Iniba lang namin yung style. And then obviously, after a few months, they'll start to get used to it and have the idea and the notion like, wait a minute, pwede rin pala Philippine restaurant ganito. So it should be the standard. It should be the norm that we should plate and present it properly in order for cuisine to get the global recognition that it deserves.
Last question ko.
Yes.
Sino yung mga pinakamalakas na umorder ng sinog?
Oh, okay. Yung
May mga foreigners ba?
Pero
Maraming foreigners.
Marami pong foreigners sa USEC, Ernie. Actually, so now that delivery is like the major point of business also, it's about 35% of the weekly sales. So it basically relies on the neighborhoods. So the people that live in the area, Bangsilog has been our #1 seller since we opened in May 20th. So it's about roughly about like 10 weeks now. At saka sa mga hospital din, especially when the pandemic was still going on, when we were just entering phase 1, we did a feeding program here. So we fed a few hospitals, and syempre marami tayong kababayan, mga nagtatrabaho ng mga nurses. So this specific hospital, Kohler Hospital in Roosevelt Island, when we got there, nakita nila may Philippine flag yung jacket ko na naghatid. So yung nagsundo na nurse, Pinay, oy, Filipino ka pala, nagdala ka ba ng pansit saka adobo dito? Hindi ko tatanggapin to pag walang ano. Tapos, so she was very happy. Sabi, madaming Pinoy dito. And she was at 2 trips yung ano namin, yung rotation namin noon. So sabi niya sa pagbalik mo sa hapon, siguraduhin mo silog naman yung dala mo. Okay, sige. Palitan namin bang silog tsaka top silog naman. But yeah, so it's been what's nice about the current situation, like Conjen said, the Filipinos here, they're in a sense actually like super proud to be Pinoy, even if they're like third generation born and raised. And I've had clients who work for they're 100% Pinoy. They've been born and raised their whole lives here, work for Wall Street, big firms, and they come here, they're super humble. They pancit, and then they would like ask for may tanduay ba dito or lambanog. Like the wine pairing kami dito, so we introduced them to wine pairing. It's been the nationalistic Pinoy pride is really strong at heart here, and you can really feel it and sense it with all our fellow kababayans.
You can serve mango bellinis, though.
Yes. Na si Consul Talbo mahilig dun sa namin, kalaman set namin.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chef. Your story is very heartwarming. Kahit ginutom kami. And then, well, actually, we're really hoping that the pandemic will end. You always say this to all our Filipinos, our OFWs and our Philcom na nakakausap na. We're hoping to meet you in person, and we're hoping to taste your bangsilog.
I would love to cook for you guys, hopefully.
Yeah. We're very hopeful. We're praying, and again, thank you for raising the flag, and stay safe, and hope to see you soon. Salamat po, Chef.
Daghang salamat.
Daghang salamat. Conjen? Yes.
Yes. meron kayong dapat puntahan pagbalik nyo dito, Yusek Sara, Yusek Ernie. I have to take you to Chismis. It's not just a restaurant. It's a veritable art gallery also.
Akala ko maraming chismis.
Habang kumakain, nagchichismis at nagtitingin sa mga artworks ng ating mga kababayan. And he bakes his own pandesal. You will miss his pandesal the moment you taste it. Anyway, ang ating kasunod na panauhin ay isa sa ating mga masugid na partners dito sa ating gawain sa New York. And she is also a doctor and she is also an educator, a professor of medicine na napakagaling, subalit nag-retire sa kanyang profesyon pero hindi sa gawain sa paglilingkod sa ating mga kababayan. Siya ang chairperson ng Filipino-American Friendship Community, si Dr. Connie Uy.
Maraming salamat po.
Good
morning sa mga kababayan natin sa Pilipinas.
Morning, ma'am.
At